Hey everybody, happy Friday. It is the 15th of December, the 15th day of Vlogmas. I hope you're doing great. I'm having like a nice sunny warm day here in my living room. Last night, Bo and I put a little something together that I got at the Christkindl Market that I remember from my childhood, but I don't remember who had this. It's the Yule chimes. And I'm sure some of you remember this too, or have them now, or have seen them before. One side it says party bells, and it has like a clown and horses. So maybe you can do this at a birthday party too, but I just remember it being for Christmas. And it says Yule chimes, and there's these little angels that go around in a circle from the heat of the candles and ring the bells. And it's the most magical thing. And like last night, Bowie was like, wow. I was like, yeah, I know. It really works. So you also get these little candles in this box with this amazing packaging. I love this design so much. It's just the little white candles that fit perfectly. And here is the bells. It's very like fragile, and sometimes the pieces fall off because you have to balance everything out perfectly so it spins really easily. And there's little angels going around, and they will ring the bells. I'm just holding it, but you know, I'm gonna go set it by my fireplace and show you because it really is magical. And then I have a video of us doing this at night because it's, you know, cooler at night. But I just had to share this because it's really, really fun. So yeah, let's go over, put these in. Let me put these in. Oh wait. Let's go over to the fireplace where I can put it in a safe location. So let's light this up. And then yeah, and later on I'll show you the video of this at night because it's much cooler in the dark, but still, I want you to see this. Do you see? This is already working. Just a little bit of holiday magic. So I realized yesterday when I got out the little angel candle that I had set some things aside from the Christkindl Market, and I forgot about my Springerla, like the most beautiful cookie in the world. And so I'm gonna eat it now because you're supposed to have it with your coffee. Luckily it's still totally fine. It's probably 2 weeks old, but I'm sure it's fine. It was all wrapped up. And these are like a harder cookie that you're supposed to have with coffee. Like you're supposed to dip it or enjoy it with coffee. So I'm sure it's still very delicious, but I'm gonna eat it now so it doesn't, like I don't have to save the precious cookie. I have a habit of doing things like that where it's like too pretty to eat, so I'm gonna put it aside. But yeah, I'm gonna have it now. And then I'm gonna crank my sock, and this will give me like the cookie coffee energy to crank my sock and show you the heel and foot and toe. Still totally good. It's really good. So one thing I wanted to do today was get out my Advents and see what they look like all together so far, and I'm really glad I did because this is very fun. So here is Magpie all together. I started out on day one with this swanky sock in this dark, dark purple, like midnight blue color. And then we got the purples, the blues, the mint, all these beautiful colors that go so well together, plus the mug, the hand cream, the candle, the stitch marker bowl, and this awesome stitch marker. So this is quite a set, and I can definitely see myself making something very cool with all of this, and I can't wait to see what's left. Today, since the 15th, it's the last set of the big boxes for this, so there's still more to come, but this is already really beautiful. And then over here, I have the Chelsea yarns. Look at the adorable buttons once again. And this is not totally the order they came in, but pretty close, I think. And there's the key card to go with it. But we started over here with like the yellows and creams into the yellowy greens and the greens, teal, and then this bright pop. Maybe this was over, no, I think it was there. Which just reminds me of like all the little places we visited along the way. And then over into like the blues and then the pinkies and an orange. So I really wonder what today will be. It's really fun seeing all these spread out and thinking about what I could make when the month is over and when they're all done and when I see everything together. I definitely want to get to my sock knitting as soon as possible today, but before I do that, let me do my advents. And we'll start with Chelsea yarns, and it is the 15th. Wow, the 15th. I hope I have all my shopping done. I really still need to go evaluate the pile and check and make sure I've got everything. The 15th, Gray's Papaya. I don't know what that is, and I'm gonna have to look it up. So I don't know. Is it gray? Is it papaya colored? I bet it's papaya. Based on yesterday, I think we might be heading into oranges, maybe? Let's see. Oh, that is definitely papaya. That's pretty. Now I have to go see what Gray's Papaya is. That's super fun. That makes sense with yesterday's window shopping color. That's really pretty. So definitely it does look, when I laid it all out, it does look like a fade type situation where the colors kind of go into each other. Like there's blues for a while, greens for a while, kind of yellows at the beginning. So now we're definitely in an orange phase, which is really pretty. Gray's Papaya. These are things I need to know. Okay, I looked it up, and Gray's Papaya is a hot dog place, which I had no idea. I did not guess that at all. But they also serve breakfast and bagels and stuff like that. But they also have papaya juice. So I'll have to put that on my list of things to try next time I'm in the city. That sounds fun. Gray's Papaya. Okay, on to Magpie Fibers. And this is the last, like I was saying earlier, the last of these 3 giant boxes. So this will be the last part of the month, which makes sense because there's 10 days till the 25th. So wow. Here's this, 15 is up here. And yarn, I'm guessing. I think so, yep. Oh, it is Virgo. My husband is a Virgo. And so pretty. Love it. There's like orange specks in the purple with the dark purple, a little bit of pink. That is super fun and goes really well with the other colors they've done so far. So that's very fun. That's the advents for today. Are we ready to crank the rest of this sock? Let's do it. The cool thing about the knitting machines is that you can seriously just leave it wherever you were as long as you know where you left off and come back to it later, so that's really nice. But you can see there's little markings on this cylinder, and I need to crank around until my black mark comes to about right here. So I'm gonna do that next. So now I'm going to use my little moon tool, which is what I call it, to lift half of the needles up. And so those needles will not be working, and then we'll be working on this half of the sock, which will be the heel. Now I'm gonna crank until these needles are in front of the yarn feeder. And you'll see these don't knit. Next, I'm going to use the heel spring, which connects up here, right in front of my break. And so now that's in place and that will catch the extra slack. Now I'm going to flip my little reminder. So I've been cranking, so I left it on crank. Now it's going to be lift. I'm going to be lifting one needle at a time, and we're going to make the heel. So I'm going to do one row, and then I'm going to add my heel fork weights to put some weight on the heel area. But first I'm going to lift one needle here and crank this section. Now I'm going to add 3 heel forks to this area here where I'm knitting the heel. So I'm going to put one in the middle and one on each side. So now I'm going to knit across these heel stitches back and forth, each time lifting one needle up until I reach these 2 marks. So now I've cranked all of those stitches and I just have this little section here that's not done. And I'm going to go the other direction back out. I'm going to be lowering the needles this time. So I'm going to switch my reminder to lower. It seems like this would be easy to remember, but when you're concentrating on all these other things, you forget if you're lifting or lowering on each side of your heel, or if you have to leave for a minute and get distracted and come back, you want to remember where you were. So that's really helpful. So now I'm going to, the first 2, I'm going to lower 2 at a time, and you have to wrap the yarn behind the needles, and then it's 1 at a time all the way back out to the halfway marks. So that's what I'm doing next. I've made it all the way back with my half heel stitches, and now I'm going to undo my heel spring, and then I'm going to push the needles down but keep the latches open and make sure that they don't close. I'm also going to take out my heel forks and move up my soft weight. So I have a clamp underneath my soft weight in the tube that helps move the soft weight up and hold it in place. Carefully pull it out. I'm going to stuff this all down and put this as close as I can to the top. Now I'm going to reset my counter and crank 60 rounds. do something very similar for the toe that I did for the heel. This is my main mark, and I'm going to lift up this half of the stitches to make the toe. I'm going to crank around. And then I'm going to use my heel spring again. I'm going to switch this again to lift because I'm going to be lifting again. And I'm going to lift this needle and crank around. And then I'm going to add my heel fork weights to this section. Now I'm going to be lifting one needle at a time until I get to these 2 marks. Now that I made it to my target marks, I'm going to be lowering. And for the first round, I lower the first 2, come back and do the first 2, then 1 at a time all the way out to the halfway mark. So I have a bit of a problem. This happens a lot. Some stitches dropped pretty far and I'm trying to get them back with my latch tool. And so sometimes things get a little fiddly and this is one of those times. So I'm just gonna take a deep breath and try to rescue this stitch and bring it back up. And hopefully I can do that. I definitely got part of it back, but I'm gonna examine to see if I missed any bars. It's really tricky to pull these up and I did it in a heel corner, which is even worse. So if I can't rescue this, I'm hoping to just get through the toe and then maybe mend it when I'm finishing the toe on the sewing part. So I'm just hoping I can get this done because I'm at the toe, I'm like at the very end. Of course, this would happen now. So I'm gonna see what I can do. It's definitely not gonna be perfect, but it's not gonna be horrible. We'll see how it turns out in the end. So I just got all my toe stitches finished. I think it's gonna be okay. And now I'm gonna take off my heel spring and then we can finish this up and see what it looks like. Now I'm gonna push these needles down because we're gonna use them again. And I'm gonna double check and make sure that all the latches are open because that can really mess things up if they're closed. Okay. Ooh, I need some weight. So now I'm gonna cut my working yarn, but I'm gonna leave enough that I can use it to Kitchener the toes shut. So I'm gonna leave a lot over here. And then I'm gonna take this out of the yarn feeder. So that's really the end of the sock. I hope it works, I hope it's okay. I can fix any little holes if there's anything bad in there. And then I'm going to put this in the center. Carefully not to hook any needles. I'm gonna smush it down there a little bit. And then I'm gonna thread through my waste yarn again, leaving a tail in the middle. Put this right by the next hook that is in use, maybe right here. tuck the tails down in because I don't want them to get caught. I'm gonna use my weighted clip again to clip the tails together. Now I'm gonna crank a few rows of waste yarn. Next, I'm gonna use little light bulb stitch markers to mark the corners of my toes. So when I'm sewing this together, I can see where the corners are and I don't drop those stitches. Now I'm gonna crank around to the halfway point and do this again on this side. Now I'm gonna crank a few more rows of waste yarn and then I'll be done. That seems pretty good, and now I'm going to cut my waste yarn and I can take this off and see what we're looking at here. I'm just gonna hold this below and this is going to come off the needles. I'm just gonna hold my weight so it doesn't fall. I guess I could take all this out. I have a lot of weights on there still. I didn't realize I had all that on there. Okay. Wow. So this is pretty amazing. This is what it looks like straight off the machine, which it's got all these danglies and these stitch markers, and it still has the weighted clip here. Hold on, let me get this out. So I've got some ends here, the stitch markers to show me where the toe is, some waste yarn here, which I'm gonna take off in a minute, and then I'm gonna Kitchener this toe. This is a toe. If I can fold it in on itself. See the toe? It has stripes and everything. Okay, so this is gonna go away. I'm just gonna fold it in. This is gonna be Kitchenered to make, look how perfect, to make a beautiful toe. Look at that. Even with my mistakes, which I kind of somehow must have fixed, my toe does not look that bad. It's a little messy over here, but my toe survived. I'm gonna count that as a win, because I did have like a big mess for a minute there. It's really scary. I'm gonna Kitchener that. Then here is my beautiful heel, which also has the beautiful stripes. Then up to the leg, this is that little cuff I made in the beginning right here. And what I'm gonna do next is detach that from the scrap yarn and the bonnet. This is all gonna come off, obviously. And I'll be left with a perfect stripy K facet Regia sock. And then I just have to make another one. Let's go take a look at this. Yay! I have an almost complete sock straight off the knitting machine, and this is what it looks like when you pull it off, and it's a little bit bonkers in the beginning because there's all these extra things, but it's incredible. And the first time I did this, my mind was blown. Like, how is this possible to do a cuff, a heel, and a toe on the machine? And also, I mean, if you don't want to do it this way, all in the machine, you can absolutely crank a tube, split it, and put in the afterthought heels and hand knit the cuff, the toe, and the heel yourself. That is wonderful too. This is still a shortcut to get that far because those three things don't take long to hand knit. And I've totally done that as well. I might do another separate video sometime, probably not for Vlogmas, but showing you how to do that, crank a tube and do afterthought, because that's really fun too. But this is magical. And so here, if you look closely, that green stripe is my ravel cord. I'm gonna pull that in a minute and separate the sock from the waste yarn, and then I'm gonna take the waste yarn off the bonnet, so I'll use it again. This is the little cuff that I created at the very beginning yesterday. that will be the top of the sock, and that's completely finished. There's nothing else to do with that. It just pulls the ravel cord off and it just detaches. Then, I'm sorry, I thought I messed up my heel, but look at that perfect heel. It's amazing. I had some little mistakes along the way that I didn't even show on the video because it can be very scary sometimes. I'm still new-ish at the machine knitting, and to fix a mistake can be very like stressful sometimes. So I just kind of take a breath and stop everything and like don't touch anything and slowly pull things back together. Like you saw, I had a slip stitch that happens sometimes, or when the stitch slips down, you have to catch all the ladders. It's just like hand knitting. So if you understand all that with knitting, you will be fine and you can understand this. But I will say, sock knitting is not like automatic, crank out a sock. There's a lot of skills involved and a lot of little steps along the way, but you get really used to it the more you do it. But it's not just like an automatic sock. So don't think that if you're looking at these machines that you're just gonna like and it's gonna just come out. There's some stuff you have to do. And troubleshooting and fixing drop stitches is one of those things, but it's not a big deal. And if you just don't like freak out, it will be okay, usually. And if not, you start over. So yeah, my heel turned out great. I'm very excited about the little cute stripes that happen in there. And then this is the toe, like I showed you before. So it almost looks like a heel because it's up here and that funny stripe went over. That's hilarious. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Kitchener this closed. So just pretend this waste yarn isn't even here. And then, you know, I'll pull out the waste yarn in the end, but first you sew it all together, and I'm trying to tuck it in so it looks halfway nice. But I wanted to show you what it looked like, you know, before you do all that. So then it's like that, basically. I'm gonna close it up. And yeah, this is where I also had the big mistake where the stitches ran down the corner of the toes, which is like, can be terrifying, but I handled it and I'm so proud of myself. I didn't have to, because once you get to the toe, you're at the end. I didn't want to have to go start all over again. Like, I was scared, but it all worked out. I somehow rescued my toe stitches on the diagonal and pulled them back up, and now I just have to stitch this closed, take off the ravel cord, and then I'm gonna have my beautiful cape sock, and then I'll make another one to make its mate. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is get my bonnet and the waste yarn off the top. So I'm gonna turn this inside out so I can see inside. I'm gonna find the area where all the ends are hanging out here. And then the green is, like this neon green, is my ravel cord. So I'm gonna loosen some of those. And it's almost like plasticky, slippery, almost like dental floss. And that's why it works so well for this. But I'm gonna loosen some of the strands right at the edge here where I started, so that it kind of releases a little bit. And this is the test to see if I pulled up the right stitches for the hung hem. Because remember, in the very beginning, I was reaching down and getting that first row of stitches and pulling them up on the hooks over to make this cuff. So this is always the test to see if I did the right row. Because if you're off a row, it's not great, but I think it's okay. So now that I have a few of those undone, I'm just gonna take the end and hold this, and I'm gonna just pull. Do it this way. You see it coming out? Okay, so it's out. So these are no longer connected, and you literally just take this off and see how your hem is. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Okay, we're good. So that is the inside where those stitches meet, is where I folded it over earlier and hooked it onto that row of hooks. And I just have a little end to weave in here, and it makes this really nice clean top. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. So that's the top of the sock. It's so good. I kind of wish I would have made the leg longer. I couldn't remember how long I liked it before. Maybe that's good though. That's like a nice crew. That's fine, never mind, it's great. Next, I'm just going to Kitchener my toe closed. And I'm gonna leave the scrap yarn on while I do that, and then Kitchener and then unravel it. So I'll show you that in a bit. And then my little stitch markers on the corners show me where the ends of the corners of the toes are. And in between these, I'm gonna pick up a bar to eliminate any gaps on the sides. And then I'm just gonna Kitchener it shut. And I'm sure you're familiar with that because a lot of you are knitters, so I'm not gonna go over that whole thing, but I'm gonna go sew this up, and then I'll show you the unraveling of the waste yarn, and then we'll be done, and it will be very exciting. So I just finished Kitchenering the toe closed, and I think I have some kind of a funny little dog ear maybe on the one side, but I'm not sure yet, and I'll maybe fix that on the inside. I'm not too worried about it. It's gonna be okay. But I always think it looks like a little puppet at this point with like a little mouth. Maybe not, but I'm going to unravel this now and see how my Kitchener looks and see if I have to fix anything from my one little oopsies. So you just undo this. I have a sock on a Friday. How fun is that? I just Kitchenered the toe and I think it's good. I just have a funny little thing to fix on the inside when I weave in the end, and I got this end all woven in and it looks so nice. And now I have to make another one, and that was fun. Thanks for hanging out while I did that. As promised, here are the bells at night. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun watching me crank a sock. I hope you have a great weekend ahead of you. Happy Friday, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.